Having trouble with your garage door? Problem solved. Call Direct Service Overhead Garage Door Company. We're your go-to team for garage door repair, new garage doors, openers, and more. We offer same-day service. We're always ready when you need us. Best of all, you can book your appointment online or talk to a live operator 24/7. No machines, no waiting. So whether it's a broken spring or a brand new garage door, trust the local experts at Direct Service Garage Doors. Call us today or visit directserviceoverhead.com.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Tusk Talk with Ty. We don't have an official name for the Wednesday night show. I guess we're going to call it. I used to call it the pre-snap show when we would talk about the.
I think it's Tusk Talk Takes.
Tusk Talk Takes. Tusk Talk Takes before the next opponent, before Ole Miss. Before we get started,
could be hot takes.
I'm sure everyone knows about what happened just 2-3 hours ago. This is not a political channel, and I get that, but when stuff like this happens, I do feel the need to, we're going to get challenged as to why we went live to begin with and all that. I mean, I know I will, and that's fine. With Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA, he'd go to campuses across the country and hold live debates with anybody who came to the microphone. I'm not gonna lie, I've watched a lot of those videos. I find them fascinating. I used to watch the Steven Crowder, I forgot what they were called, the Change My Mind. Yeah, the Change My Mind segments. I watch those. I enjoy lively debates. I whether I agree with the host or not.
I'll tell you that they sparked a lot of great conversation between me and my kids.
Oh,
teenage kids, and they came to me, and whether we agreed with Charlie's point or not, it at least gave us talking points.
Yeah. My kids aren't at that age yet, but our oldest she's getting there, and I prefer for her to not, for either of them right now, to just enjoy being a kid. But yeah, when she gets older, I'm sure those conversations will happen. But Charlie Kirk passed away. It was absolutely I don't know. It's still hard to make sense of it. I have spent the last 2 hours just looking at just like what happened. They have a guy in custody. They don't have a guy in custody. They have a different guy in custody, and kind of going over all this stuff. And it's heartbreaking. He was a father of 2 kids, a husband, created a lot of jobs, created a national dialogue. And that's something that should be celebrated. Whether you agree with him or not, or the people he's debating, that's the whole point. And today is just a really, really dark day. And again, we're not going to stay on this, but I need to pull away from it, because the last 2 hours I've been doing nothing but, I don't want to say obsessing over it, but I've been watching a lot of stuff, reading a lot of responses, thinking about, some of the things that Charlie has said in the past, and but he was certainly a someone who wanted to defend free speech, and he was certainly on the front lines for that, whether you agreed with him or not. So, again, I'm not sure the right protocol, what we're necessarily supposed to do after this, but I do want to, it's something we do on this channel for post games. We have a gold chain MVP, and I can't help but want to give this to Charlie Kirk. I don't know, kind of just an appreciation for what he did, for expressing his views. Again, whether I always agreed with him or not. I kind of feel like this was, I don't know. Feels like the right thing to do. So again, I encourage you guys, if you are politically active, go watch some of his content. That was there on Turning Point USA. It was interesting, it's fascinating, and certainly made you think a little bit. And again, don't always have to agree with him, but thoughts and prayers to the Kirk family, to his kids, to his wife. Just, man, dark day. So, Tim, you have anything you want to say, man?
I don't know that I can really expand on that. There really are two people that I have paid attention to just for the sake of thought. Joe Rogan being one. The thing that I've always appreciated about Joe Rogan is that he always hears all sides.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that about Charlie Kirk as well, that he's willing to talk to anybody. Now he's going to try to convince you of his point. Absolutely. And if you annoy him, he might get a little belligerent with his point, but at least he was willing to hear. Not everybody's willing to hear. I've engaged in a lot of conversations with people who just shut you down.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to dumb things like sports. But he was always willing to hear someone's point. And I think it's sad when the ability to have discourse is gone. So it's a sad day. It's a sad day, and I didn't always agree with them. And like I said, my kids and I would have conversations, and being teenagers, I think those conversations are important conversations.
Yeah.
And I appreciated those opportunities just popping up on TikTok. I've got a teenage daughter right now who would come to me with those TikToks and just be like, he said this, and what do you think about that? And it gave us a great chance to talk. You don't have to agree with someone to necessarily sit down and talk about their points, and that was good for us. Yeah. And today she's literally the person that brought me the video, the unblurred video of what happened.
Oh. And
it broke my heart that she even saw that it happened, that she saw it. It's just gut-wrenching. So be willing to talk. That's it. I think that's what he would leave you with, is be willing to talk. Be willing to have discourse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
All right. We do appreciate everyone for stopping by. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I realize some of you are not here to listen to us talk about this. We already had a comment. Someone asked when we were going to start talking about football. Yeah, sometimes things are a little bit more important than football, and I thought it would be okay if we talked about it for 7 or 8 minutes of this video. So if you got a problem with it, you can kindly leave. I don't really give a damn. Some things are absolutely bigger. So, anyways. Yeah, I know. It's inside the chain, but I wanted to put it over I did it my way. All right. I wanted to start this off getting into the football talk. Finally. Wanted to start this off with the Darren McFadden. I don't know if you guys saw this, but he was at the Little Rock Touchdown Club yesterday. I think this was yesterday, or maybe it was Monday. Courtney Mims tweeted this video. I'm gonna see if I can pull this up here.
I know what video you're getting.
Here it is.
Did you ever get anything when you were playing?
So yeah, he's being asked about getting paid to be a Razorback, and this made me chuckle quite a bit. Let's listen to what Darren has to say here about his allegiance to the University of Arkansas and whether or not he got paid.
Listen, I don't know. I was trying to think who it was that I don't know if we had him on the air or here at the Touchdown Club, but everybody feels a little bit easier about talking about it now because everybody's getting paid. Maybe it was Eric Dickerson last year. I can't remember. But what about you?
This is what I tell people, man. Growing up in Arkansas, I was an Arkansas Razorback from the day I was offered. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. They didn't have to pay me or anything like that. So I wasn't one of those recruits that was getting motivated by money or anything. I committed as a junior in high school. I never wavered from my commitment. I was going to be a Hog regardless. Like I say, whether it was money involved or not, I was going to be a Razorback.
Let's break down what he said right there for just 1 second.
First off, he's been sober for like 9 months, and I think that's what he said, 9 or 10 months. And I am so happy for him, dude.
On that same journey, I've been not drinking for 9 months. Good for him.
Yeah. He and just seeing him smile like that, man, I don't know. It's great. Yeah. What do you think here?
He didn't say they didn't pay me. He said they didn't have to pay me. There's very good wording there. Like, I was a Razorback, whether there was money or not. And they didn't have to pay me. But he didn't come out and say they didn't pay me. And I think his car, when he was here as a running back, was legendary. Yes. That's all I'm going to say. It was legendary. So I'm going to leave it at that and take him at the words that he said. They didn't have to pay him to come here.
Which,
and not question him at all.
I don't know. There's some players, some former players, I wouldn't believe if they said that. I guess that's not fair. Everyone, until you know someone, everyone deserves, the benefit of the doubt. But I believe him. He said numerous times over the years that he grew up, obviously an Arkansas kid. He grew up in Central Arkansas, diehard Hog fan. I believe him when he says, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a Razorback. Now, yeah, the red Crown Vic with the giant 22-inch rims. It had to have some kind of suspension lift. We saw that thing all over Fayetteville. It's crazy.
It was legendary.
I saw it sitting by itself in the back of a Harps, not the back, the back end of the parking lot of a Harps. Which one was it? Was it the one on was it Weddington? Is there a Weddington Harps?
There is.
I'm pretty sure it's where it was at, and it was just sitting there empty. And I drove by, and I'd never seen it before. I'd only heard about the Darren McFadden. It was like a red. I'm pretty sure it was a Crown Vic, and it was red, and it had those giant rims that, like, the sun. You could just see the sun reflecting off those damn rims, and it was certainly a sight to behold. And
now let's be honest. Like, I don't fault him if they did give him something. Like, if they did. And he says, well, they didn't have to. I was Razorback regardless. Yeah. I don't fault you for that. What they didn't do was get you a Heisman, and they should have. Somebody should have paid somebody to finish that off because you deserved it and you got robbed of it. So, I mean, give this man his money.
So there's Travis, who couldn't join us tonight. He had some stuff going on tonight.
Travis says he knew Darren.
Oh, he knew Darren McFadden, like, personally?
I think they went to high school together, if I remember right.
I had heard
Travis.
Well, see, if you'd been here, Travis, you could tell us all about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd did it have the giant rims? I mean, that was huge. I saw him at the very first time I ever met him was at the old 6th Street, which is now MLK Walmart.
Yeah.
The one that's infamous. It's been shot up a few times. It had a famous author self-delete himself. Oh yeah, the guy that wrote the When Money Grew on Trees, talking about all the stuff that happened in Madison County with Ralph Baker, the sheriff. The guy, that author, in the parking lot, I think, or inside the building, inside Walmart. I don't know. He deleted himself. I'll just say that, but it's crazy. It's still nuts they haven't made a documentary on that. Anyways, saw him there. I didn't realize, I'm like 6'2", 6'3". I didn't realize how tall this dude was. And just a giant smile on his face, shook my hand without even, like, I never even had my hand out. He just shook my hand. Super, super nice guy. But he didn't look like, he didn't have all the bling on or anything. He didn't look like someone to me that was getting paid.
Sure.
And you kind of, even back then, you knew, they're probably, I mean, come on, he's getting the $100 handshake, surely.
If anybody who watched the program assumed that the movie, the program,
Yeah,
assumed it.
yeah. Ty have a game issue 2007. Ooh, wow, that's cool. D-Mac jersey with the nameplate. Yeah, wow. You need to get that autograph, man. He's out in the open more often now. Like I'm sure that has something to do with his sobriety. He's out in the open more, and I love it, man. We need more D-Mac. We need him. I want to hear him talk about these running backs at Arkansas. I want to hear him, talk about the offense, and I don't
running backs.
He's I know he's done the Hogs Plus thing. He's done a couple of those. I think he's done a couple of those now. Do I need to join Discord to tell you about McFadden in high school? Well, I mean, you should be in the Discord anyways.
Right.
You should just be in Tusk Talk Discord. We started a brand new XP cycle today, and yeah, you need to be in there. Get in on the fun, man. You need to be there. Darren has, is that what it is? I thought it was a Crown Vic.
It was Crown Vic.
Darren has lifted Caprice, didn't he the Crown Vic Monk? I don't know.
Monk had. I don't know what Monk had because D-Mac's car was the legendary car.
It's all anybody talked about.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it was absolutely crazy. Yeah. So I don't know whether or not he actually got paid. I'm sure, like, we can all assume he probably got something. We can all assume that he probably got the $100 handshakes.
And nobody's hating on him for it.
No one's hating on him. I mean,
nobody at all.
This is part of the reason why I've always been a fan of paying the players as long as there were rules and guidelines in place where we don't end up with what we have now. But you get a kid like that out of Little Rock, and he comes to Arkansas, and he has such an awesome opportunity. He gets an opportunity to play in the NFL, and make some money, man. But he should have made money. He should have been on posters. He should have been on, when you drive into Fayetteville, he ought to be on the everywhere. Like, he was such a big deal to the university and to Arkansas.
Yeah.
He should have been paid for it. So, how good was prime D-Mac?
Oh, man. It was, man.
I'd never seen anything like that. Though. Someone asked in the chat, favorite D-Mac moment. I mean, obviously the LSU run has got to be up there, the Casey Dick block. That's got to be up there. But the first time I laid eyes on him live, I had a similar experience like when I first watched Matt Jones live, because I'd only seen him on TV. What was that, his freshman year? I'd only seen him on TV, and to see him in person doing him and Felix both. I remember watching Felix run a kickoff back, and you just see him shift into gear. It was insane. And I've been to a lot of Razorback football games. Had never seen anything like that. And that was big time SEC. Those were the best backs. That was the best trio of backs the SEC, I think, has ever had, with D-Mac, Hillis, and Jones. But laying eyes on it, in 05, 06, of course, 05 was his freshman year. Him and Darius Howard were kind of sharing carries. Howard had a lot of expectations. I think, if I remember right, he couldn't stay healthy. And then Darren McFadden just took the spot. And we all knew then, like, it's any moment. This freshman out of Little Rock, this kid's going to take over. And he did. And obviously went on to have an incredible sophomore season. Watching him, this is Kerper here. I'm going to pull this down now. Watching him in 06 destroy Auburn 27-10 on the road was something else. One of my favorite games I've been to. Wow. I was at the South Carolina game. I had an opportunity to be at this game. I was at the South Carolina game. He set the record, then magically got yes, because initially they had given him the record, and then they took 2 yards or a yard away or whatever it was, and it was like, wait, what? No one has thrown a fit about that, and I'm really surprised. I'm surprised Houston Nutt didn't. Frank Royal
change it now. I mean, Auburn's taking new national championships left and right. Can we just change that record?
Yeah, let's just go back and change that. Nope, he got those extra 2 yards. He holds the record. Give it to him.
I think we should. Auburn claimed something like 7 national championships the other day.
I saw where they'd done something like that. A&M had done that right around the time they joined the SEC, if I remember right. They had all of a sudden bumped up their national what was it, self-claimed national title or whatever. He brought that wood, baby. Yeah, when Houston Nutt called out ESPN, you put him on the Heisman. Mark May, Lou Holtz. Yeah, he should have won the Heisman his sophomore year. He should have. The wrong guy got it. That's just, whatever. We're biased, I know, but still. SEC has always screwed the Hogs. I mean, yeah. I know the day after he signed to the Raiders, he came to Foot Locker, and I was working there at the time, and he bought like 15 pairs of the Air Force Jordan collab shoes. Okay. Damn. Yeah, that's what happens when you get that NFL money. Yeah. All right. So yeah, again, to finish up the Darren McFadden topic there, it's always possible, but you know what? You can just say, who knows, right? Who knows if he was actually paid. Make sure you guys, again, like, share, subscribe. Appreciate you guys for being here. Trying to take our minds off of today, but I do appreciate you guys. Please consider joining Patreon and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm just glad you're here, and we could talk a little. We could talk some SEC football. A little escapism is always needed, anyways. So, Tim, what are your thoughts on SEC power polls?
But mostly they're a bunch of garbage. I mean, I think that they don't give enough respect to certain teams just because of who they are. And like Arkansas never gets respect in a power poll. Yeah, pull it up here. So it's always a certain group. I mean, LSU, Georgia, Texas, always going to be up there. Vanderbilt had a masterful second half, probably should be higher than they are right there. I don't know why Missouri's 6th. It just seems like there's a certain group of people who they disrespect no matter what. By the way, is that South Florida?
Oh, it is. I didn't even see that.
South Florida made the SEC over Florida. They kicked them out.
Wow, you have been demoted. You are out. Wow. Yeah, I didn't even catch that. That's funny. Yeah, I don't have an issue with power rankings. My problem is right here at the top. Right there.
It doesn't mean a whole lot. I mean, I guess. Look at who people have played. It doesn't mean a whole lot. Even for us at 14, we haven't really played anybody, but we've dominated who we've played. So being 14th is kind of weird. Alabama wins 73-0 against College of Basket Weaving and Mimes. They, as far as I'm concerned, that should drop them because they didn't score 100. It's kind of meaningless. Kind of like when we talk though about like, well, Taylor Green is so improved.
Yeah,
because he did this. I'm so interested in this Ole Miss game because this is the gauge. All the things we've seen for 2 weeks, we've seen some really positive things, but this is the gauge. This is the place where you go, okay, were those positive things real, or was it because we were playing College of Mimes and underwater basket weaving?
SEC power polls should only be used to engage every fan base and drive traffic to your site. Yeah. That's really what it is. I get it. But they're not the only ones that do this, right? I mean, it's not just – I think some of it is people just value their opinions so much, that I've got LSU at number 1. Really? I mean, I've said – for a while, for the last couple of weeks, I like LSU to win the SEC. I think they're up there, but their performance lately, you're going to tell me you would put them at number 1? Like, I almost think you would flip LSU in Oklahoma on this one.
I mean, Oklahoma beat somebody, actually beat somebody.
Yeah. And to be fair, LSU did go on the road and beat Clemson, but the more we see of Clemson, we're like, okay, they're going to be great on defense, but their offense is what it always is. It's cheeks. It's vanilla at best. LSU did go there and win. I'm always going to give someone credit for walking into that place and winning. And I still think Clemson probably finishes at worst like 8-4, maybe 7-5 at the very worst. But still, winning there is difficult. And LSU did that. And I'll give them kind of the benefit of the doubt. But I think Georgia or LSU, I don't know that I would put them at number one. And so, again, this goes back to, like, why are we doing these power rankings, these power polls week 2? What are we doing?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I don't know. When I see these, I start to just, the people that post these, they lose credibility a little bit with me. It's like, wait till 3 or 4 weeks at least until you've played a decent opponent. Now, as far as Arkansas being at 14th, I'm not mad at it. Again, I'm not mad at any of this because it's silly that we have this at all. But, they haven't proved it yet. Now, I'm glad they're ahead of South Florida in the SEC.
But Missouri did beat the powerhouse football team of Kansas. So
yeah, they deserve to be 6th. Yeah, absolutely. I was surprised when I saw that they had them that high up. And then we have
I'm still surprised Mississippi State is ahead of Arkansas. Like, that just seems wrong.
Oh, well, they did beat Arizona State, but man,
I know, but I think Arizona State was the overrated team there. I don't think it meant that much.
Yeah. Here's SEC Mike's. Again, Arkansas down at 14th.
Everybody seems to agree on that one.
Everybody. Every single SEC poll I've seen, I don't think I've seen one above 14th. Ole Miss all the way down at 12th. That's interesting. I wonder what SEC Mike will think if Arkansas does go on the road and beat Ole Miss. Do they just swap?
Swap 12 and 14.
I mean, and he's got Florida at 16th. Damn. Poor Courtney. Her Florida Gators. Ooh, they gotta make a change. Did you see that?
State at 7th.
What's that?
Mississippi State is 7th.
Yeah.
What 7th. In the world?
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing here.
I just don't believe in Arizona State enough. I just don't.
And it was home for them too. And I get that that's still a big win. Like, Arizona State is considered, or was anyway, as a playoff. When they were considered a playoff team. I'm just going to go back to what I said. Like, and this is why someone again is going to ask, "Why are you covering this at all?" Because I'm pointing out that there is so much scrutiny behind doing this for 2 weeks, and I want to point it out.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. I want to point this out. Like, I just think you ought to be banned from making power polls or power rankings until get at least 3 or 4 games under your belt, and then you can kind of justify it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just it's crazy to me.
Get into
preseason polls too. I agree. Preseason polls are nuts. I get it. That's money. I understand that, and that's what this is all about. And there's a lot of schools with a lot on the line there when it comes to rank.
I think if they just get into league play.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, we've had Kentucky versus Ole Miss, but let's get into actual league play and then start power indexes.
I do like Texas at 10, though. It is. That's a troll right there, and I love it. I love that. Nice. I've seen people have Ole Miss as low as 12 and 13 in the power rankings. Yeah. Ole Miss is losing a little bit of steam this week because of their performance in their first 2 games. So people said UCF should be higher. Put them at first, man. They've got a win over Boise State and Florida.
And both ranked at the time, right?
I think
Boise was ranked when they beat them, I think.
I think so. I think that's right. Clay says number 15. Oh, what? Was it something we missed? Who was at 15? Kentucky? Is that what you're talking about there? SEC Mike has Kentucky at 15th. I don't know if that's what you're pointing out.
South Florida. He noticed the South Florida.
Oh, okay. Heartbreak Hog says, Boise State was 25th.
It's going to turn out USF has the strongest strength of schedule because they beat these ranked teams.
They honestly look like a playoff team right now. I don't know.
how can you criticize? They're beating the out of conference teams. You can't really criticize it.
Yeah.
They're beating the ranked out of conference teams. They're going to go through their schedule like it's nothing.
Yeah. And this is correct. Isn't USF the only team in the country with 2 ranked wins? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. They are.
And on the road, I don't remember if I don't think Boise State was on the road.
No, I think that one was at home.
It's either home or neutral field, but yeah, I think you're right. I think it was
Either
home.
way.
Yeah, two ranked wins, and yeah, I mean they are. So what are we doing? So why are they number one and they're in whatever national power poll? I mean they've got the wins. Ty, glad you're on. Get my mind off the events in Utah. Yeah, man, that's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing it. USF is a pretty big school. I have heard this before too, and I've heard they've got a pretty large enrollment at South Florida.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Discipline equals win. Yeah, I think they have more students than U of A. I think I have heard that about South Florida. How big that their student body is. Discipline equals win. That's right. That is correct. All right. Well, we gotta get to what I'm excited to talk about, and that's
49,000 students enrolled at USF. It is bigger than the
holy crap! It's almost 50,000 students.
That's a city all by itself.
Holy cow, dude! Wow. Yeah, that's impressive. Anyways, the meat and potatoes of this live, and I do appreciate you guys being here. We're going to talk about Tron Ares. It's in theaters. I'm sorry.
Wrong podcast.
I'm so excited for that, dude. Tron Legacy is the GOAT, man. Y'all need to watch Tron Legacy. It's so good. Okay. Arkansas is on the road at Ole Miss. It's that time. This is I could go about 1,000 different ways with this matchup and 1,000 different ways of trying to break it down from whatever angle you want to break it down from. I know one thing. This should be the most motivated Arkansas has been for a game in a really long ass time. And I know Sam Pittman he's not Houston Nutt, right? He's not the rah-rah, he's going to pump his guys up, you remember Nutt was known as a player's coach, and you watch those videos and you just want to run through a brick wall for the guy. That's not really Sam's thing. But what he does need to do, and I hope they did, is watch that game this week from a year ago when Ole Miss absolutely beat the living dog shit out of Arkansas and Fayetteville. That needs to be a motivator.
I think Sam addressed it, though, and he was like, yeah, it needs to be a motivator, but so many of our kids weren't even here. Like, we had so many transfers in that didn't experience
He did say that.
So,
but you had Fernando Carmona, Talon Green, you had Quincy Rhodes, Xavion Sorey, Cam Ball. Right?
You definitely did. I'm not saying there aren't, but his larger point was trying to just go to the guys and say, remember, we got our butts whipped. He's like, a lot of our guys were not here for that.
And that's fair. But again, I it's still disrespect to the school that you're playing for, right?
Sure,
so I think that they need to be as motivated for this as they and this coaching staff, because guess what? 95% of this coaching staff was here a year ago. That secondary got obliterated. And I'm not just talking about the players either. I'm talking about the roster and the coaches too. That was embarrassing. It was the most hog thing you'll watch, a game that you thought Arkansas would get up for. No one saw that coming. Nobody. Ole Miss was good. Remember, Ole Miss a year ago, this was the only SEC game where they scored 30 or more points in. It was a great team. That defense was incredible. All those athletes, all those playmakers and NFL draft picks and guys that made, well, at the time they signed a lot of them. I think they had like 11 guys sign undrafted free agent deals, but a lot of them got drafted, and they walked into Fayetteville and it was embarrassing. Talon Green was out at half. Malachi came in, and luckily Malachi understood the assignment and looked good. I had a different view on why that went down the way that it did a year ago. It upset some people, but I don't care. I stand by what I said. But Ole Miss they were subbing out starters in the third quarter. They were subbing out, and they were basically playing to the tune of, we're done here. We have dominated you, and this is over. Embarrassing performance, regardless if you agree with me or not on how it happened and what Arkansas what little they were able to do later on. That has to be a motivating factor for this team, for this roster. And I think especially someone like a Fernando Carmona, he's already known for, I don't condone everything the guy does, but he's definitely the vocal point of that offense. And he is someone who speaks up. He was, when I had access to spring and fall camp, he was definitely one of the more vocal guys. And, he could also get players to laugh. But I think he's kind of the unsung leader of that group. He was here a year ago when this happened.
He was.
They have to be motivated as hell. Find a way, even if they weren't here, if they're freshmen or if they're transfers or whatever. You can't let that happen again. And this time it's at their place. Not that it would be any more embarrassing, but still, Tim, I don't think this Ole Miss team is anywhere near as good as what they were a year ago.
Yeah, I definitely think the defense took some steps back. I watched some of the highlights, the way that Kentucky scored on them, and I'm thinking the speed isn't there. It's not that they don't have speed, but the speed of last year is not there. I think some of the motivation from last year isn't there. Here they were embarrassed by Kentucky last year, and they almost got embarrassed again this year by Kentucky. It was a close game, and when you look at some of the runs that the Kentucky running backs had into the end zone, it's just like it's not the same defense for sure. So
they had to replace, and I have it in my notes here. By the way, they are favored. They are still favored. The matchup predictor at the beginning of the year was 72.8. It's now 73.7.
Oh, it bumped up again.
It bumped up. So, yeah, they ended up losing. 8 total players were drafted, 10 of which, or 10 more, signed undrafted free agency deals. 18 players they've had to replace, and then some. Listen, Ole Miss has done great in the portal. There's no doubt they did it again. Well, let me take that back. They didn't do it again, but they did have a really good class, a pretty loaded class out of the portal. I don't, from what I've seen, and it is a small sample size, at no point do I think that they are anywhere near what they were a year ago. And to replace that kind of, I don't know who, maybe in Ohio State,
Bama under Saban,
yeah.
That there's not a lot of schools that can replace that way, and I don't think they did. I'm not saying they're not good. They're absolutely good, but on the same level as last year, I'm not sure that that's the case. It goes without saying when you look at Simmons, first of all, throwing more interceptions than touchdowns so far this season, and his touchdowns all came in their cupcake win. He didn't throw a touchdown against Kentucky. I mean, that's just not the same. Jackson Dart would have probably had 8 or 9 touchdowns by now, maybe as many as Talon, maybe 10. And Simmons is not Jackson Dart, that's for certain.
Watching him play, it's like at times I'm thinking like, man, he is holding this offense back.
Maybe
with the talent that they have at wide receiver, man, I just feel like they ought to be so much better. And it feels like Simmons is just, I don't know. And I know they have high hopes for him. And I know that Simmons is someone who, Ole Miss fans will tell you coming into the year, he may not be Jackson Dart, but he's pretty damn close. I can recall seeing that somewhere on Twitter. Last year they were third in scoring offense at 38 points. Now, again, that was all done before they hit SEC play. Their defense absolutely throughout the SEC was very, very good.
Yeah.
And Jackson Dart was great. Their defense was, just to give you a reference here, their rushing defense allowed just 80 yards per game. That was second in the country a year ago. Secondary took a little bit of a back seat, but it just didn't matter because they would just destroy you with their pass rush. But they were around, like, they're in the 80s in terms of passing yards allowed, if I recall. I don't actually have that in front of me. Their total yards allowed, though, was 14th in the country at just 311 yards. Again, this is all last year. And then points allowed was just north of, I think, 14 points per game, which was like, I don't know, third or fourth in the country. It's just insane, and they don't have those pieces at all this year on They've got some good pieces. They've got some things about their defense that, maybe there's definitely some strengths in that defense in certain places. I like their linebacker play somewhat. But man, they're giving up a lot of rushing yards. They are right now, pull this up, make sure I'm not mistaken here. Rushing yards allowed per game, they are dead last in the SEC right now. 363 yards given up through 2 games. That's almost 182 yards a game on the ground. 30 points already given up on the ground this year. Their run defense is bad. It's not good. And that could be on the linebackers too. Again, I'm not saying that they're – I think Arkansas's linebacker core is better based on what we saw against Arkansas State. But Arkansas State's not Kentucky, right? Not that Kentucky's some great team. I mean, they're probably God knows what Kentucky does with Stoops. But, again, Ole Miss has got some issues. And you look at Arkansas on offense, what's the thing they're doing really well right now?
Running the ball.
Running the damn ball. 515 yards. That's 200 and just about 260 yards a game. And they have scored 108 points on the ground. Or maybe that no. Hold on, that's wrong. 108 points total. I'm sorry. I was going to say as that was leaving my tongue, I was like, wait, that's not right. But only Auburn, which is very impressive, by the way. Only Auburn is better when it comes to rushing yards. They've got 531. Arkansas's got 515. They're actually tied with Ole Miss, and yeah, Ole Miss can run the ball. But
Lacey, right?
Say what?
It's Lacey, right? For Ole Miss, he's kind of a one-man show.
Yes, they have Kewan Lacey, who's averaging about 6 yards a carry, 4 rushing touchdowns on the year, just south of 250 yards. As a team, Ole Miss runs for almost 6 yards a carry. Logan Diggs doesn't have a lot of carries. I think he's under double digits, but he's averaging like, I don't know. He had one big run. Austin Simmons can run. He is an athlete. He's no Taylor Green, but he can take off and run. He's got 61 yards on the ground. And then they have Damian Taylor, who I think they expect to be pretty heavy in the rotation as the year goes on. He's got 10 carries. He's like the only one you look at and you go, okay, well, just looking at the stat box, which you're not supposed to do. You shouldn't ever judge a player based solely on their stat box. But he's got 10 carries for 33 yards, which is 3.3 per carry. But they have 7 rushing touchdowns on the year.
I think he's the one who took their Wildcat touchdown in, Taylor.
Yeah, because they do
that in. He's more of their bruiser back. He's not expected to run 6, 7, 8 yards a game.
Yeah, he's like
over Kentucky guys.
Yeah, he's like 5'9", 5'10", like 225.
Yeah.
He's kind of reminds you a little bit of maybe like a Dennis Johnson or something, like a little bit thicker, built a little bit lower to the turf. But yeah, and they will run they will do a little Wildcat. They will line up. I mean, it's Lane Kiffin, right? I mean, he's got some tricks up his sleeve. This will be, I can't make my mind up on a score.
Yeah.
I don't know the
shootout, I think.
You think
and I'll
so?
be honest, man, I've been listening to Locked On Ole Miss, the Ole Miss podcast, and they're concerned about our offense. Like we'll get on here and talk shit a little bit about teams, and we'll be like, Arkansas is looking good, and they're not, but these guys were like, okay, just remember that when Arkansas was not good last year against us, Bobby Petrino's offense still put up 31 points against our defense that didn't allow 31 points. Mm-hmm. And they did it with a backup quarterback in half the game. Imagine if Taylor Green stays in the game. The other podcasters, the Ole Miss podcasters are actually respecting us more than you might expect. I noticed on Twitter too, a lot of an Ole Miss podcaster put on, hey, we've got LSU coming up, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, all of the fan comments under that were, dude, we have Arkansas. What are you worried about LSU?
Yeah.
Like, I think they're giving us if the national media is not giving us any respect, the Ole Miss fans are giving us some respect for sure.
Absolutely. I got Hogs 38, Rebs 28, so Arkansas by 10 right there. I did see that, what you were talking about. I saw that where fans were like, what are y'all doing? Like, we have Arkansas literally on Saturday, and what are you writing this off?
Yeah.
I also
nice to see that kind of respect from the fan base, even if the media doesn't, for a team's fan base to be like, wait a second, don't overlook those guys.
Yeah, Simmons. I think Simmons will play on Saturday. I've already someone in chat's talking about that. I think Simmons is going to play. By the way, we're supposed to get an official injury report. Is that out yet? Have you seen anything?
I haven't seen it.
Check my emails here. I don't see that the U of A has sent anything. They're supposed to send out I think tonight is like, that's the new rule that started a year ago. In SEC play, you have to release your injury update. Now, how honest you really have to be. I mean, just like in the NFL, they can kind of play around a little bit with what the true availability is going to be for a player. But I think Simmons will end up playing. David Oki, by the way, since we're on the topic of injuries, David Oki did participate yesterday, but only like partially. Again, if you're unable to go 100% this week, I don't know what your role is going to be on Saturday. I mean, or what it should be. I would like to have heard he's full go, and we don't have an update on that just yet. Doesn't look like
he said he expects him to be questionable.
Okay. Well, they need him. I mean, I'd prefer David Oki to be 100%. We know that that defensive line, that is a big concern about the overall depth up front on the defensive line. Again, it is still odds are still heavily in their favor for Ole Miss when it comes to the ESPN analytical matchup predictor. However, the line or the point spread on this thing started off at like 9.5 points. And then it went down to like 8.5. Then it went down to, I think it went all the way down to, was it 6.5 today? And I looked at it. I've got it up here just now, and it's back up to 7.5. So I don't know what. I have no idea what could have, unless Lane Kiffin. Maybe we missed something. Maybe Lane Kiffin came out and was like, "No, actually, Simmons is 100%. We're getting a whole bunch of guys back." They did have some missing pieces last week against Kentucky. The total points right now is at 61.5. What do you think about that, Tim? Do you think it's going to end up being higher?
I think it'll be higher than that. I think it will be a shootout. I agree with the Ole Miss fans and podcasts. It'll be a shootout. I feel better about our defense than I did before Arkansas State. I'm not completely sold until we play real competition, which I may make a full readjustment of my wins losses after Saturday.
Oh yeah.
Because I think we'll learn that much after playing Ole Miss. But right now I'm not as confident in our defense against a real opponent. So I do think it'll be a shutout, to be honest.
A shootout. Okay, so
shootout. Sorry, that I'm sitting here trying to read this injury report at the same time as I think it'll be a shootout. Shootout.
So yeah, and you're right. This will be a game that will most likely have an impact if it goes a certain way. If Arkansas does find a way to win this game, yeah, then I'm going to have to change some of these 50-50s. I'm going to have to change some of the 50-50s that I have leaning as an L. Walking into Oxford now, I saw, of course, Camo's got – what was his prediction? 52-35. Man. This is obviously not okay. Yeah, I don't even know why I put that on the screen. I'm with you. I think it probably will be over in terms of points. Everything is really leaning in Arkansas's favor right now. And I think a lot of that has to do with quarterback play so far. Now, a lot of people are kind of scoffing over the 2 picks that he threw. I mean, let's keep in mind, Taylon Green threw 2 picks against Arkansas State. He did correct it. They were making some mistakes early on. They kind of corrected those as the game went on. Not that they didn't make mistakes. And one thing that I heard, I think it was maybe Chuck Barrett talking about pre-snap, like Taylor Green pre-snap, and how much better he is at pre-snap, like knowing what's going on in front of him, and and being able to identify what the defense is doing, and and all that. Quinn Grovey, I think it's Quinn Grovey, former quarterback, who told him that, oh, by the way, like, yeah, I'm really liking what he's doing pre-snap. Those are things that you can pick up on no matter who the opponent is. Now, when it comes to surveying and going through your reads, that's different, right? Because if you can do that every week the way he did, week 1 or a little bit of in week 2, then you're on to something here. You've got something really special if he can do that against SEC opponents, because why? Size, strength, athleticism, speed, and yeah, it's SEC talent. Like, even though Ole Miss may not be as good as they were a year ago, if you're able to, especially if you have the kind of time that his offensive line has given him these first couple of weeks, if you have that kind of time to begin with, and he is doing that, he's doing everything he needs to do pre-snap, and he's going through his reads post-snap when he's given some time to throw the ball. Taylor Green could be in for an incredible year if we see more of the good stuff that we've seen in the first 2 weeks. But I am also with you. I am in this kind of like, I really want to see more. They don't have as much film to critique themselves on,
Right?
Because they played 2 cupcakes. Ole Miss has plenty of film to critique themselves on, to fix. They have more film. Look what we did here when they're in film. When they're in the film room on Sunday, and whenever they go in throughout the week, they're able to pull plenty of stuff up and go, here, we actually played an SEC opponent. They actually showed us some things that we need to work on. Arkansas doesn't have that, and that is a little bit concerning. And Taylor Green still, I mean, he has 2 turnovers, which I would rather, right? I'd rather him not have any. I want him to be perfect, right? I'd rather him have no interceptions, but he is off to a better start, and he does look a little bit more polished. I just wonder, does that hold up now that you're playing a better, like, you're not playing another Arkansas State or Alabama A&M. That's over.
Yeah.
Now you're into the real part of your schedule.
Yeah, I'll be honest. The picks don't bother me too much because they didn't cost us anything, and they do give a coaching opportunity going into this game. I don't want to read too much into Ole Miss either, but Simmons throwing 2 picks against each opponent, their Cupcake and Kentucky, and not being able to throw a single touchdown against Kentucky, I think does bode well for our defense. But I just want to see something that gives me more confidence in the defense is all.
Yeah. Kentucky, they only beat Kentucky by 7. Now that got off to a really rough start for Ole Miss.
And I think Kentucky was up 10-0 to start the game.
10-0. And Ole Miss was able to score 17 in the second quarter, and then 10 in the third, and then and able to kind of ice the game there with the field goal, holding Kentucky to just 10 points in the second half. But Ole Miss only had the 13. But Ole Miss did have 359 yards of offense. That's not a ton, but again, they gave up 172 yards on the ground. So, and they had 455. I really think Kentucky, I don't know. I think they're going to be really bad. Calzada has not looked. He looks so bad against Ole Miss. If they had any kind of vertical threat, like that could have been a different outcome if Kentucky had any kind of vertical threat at all.
Yeah, for sure.
He was 16 of 33. For what was it, 187 yards. I mean, that's just, god dang, dude. That's sub 50%. That's terrible. And at home too, right? Like, they were the other problem Ole Miss had, and this is something that I don't know why I didn't look at to begin with, but they were 3 of 13 on third down to Kentucky. It's not great. And to be fair, Kentucky wasn't any better, 5 of 16 on third down. But yeah, I've just not been, and I've said all offseason on this one as well. Simmons is not Jackson Dart, and there's too much here for them to overcome. So with that being said, do you want to give your prediction?
My prediction. I mean, I do think it's going to be close. I mean, probably it wouldn't surprise me if it was 42-38.
High scoring, 42-38 with Ole Miss. So you're taking Ole Miss?
Yeah. I mean, I have to take Ole Miss for my conscience sake. I want to be the Sunshine Pumper Razorback fan. I do, and I want to believe so bad, but I picked Ole Miss to win this game before the season ever started, and I'm not completely deterred from that yet. But you know what? Prove me wrong. I want the Razorbacks to prove me wrong. I think the offense might be there. I want confidence in the defense. I'll call 42-38.
Okay.
Ole Miss.
We do have the injury list here. I don't know how accurate this is because it doesn't have there's no Has isn't on here. For Ole Miss, so Jalen Braxton, who I don't know, they have him down as questionable. Probable is Harrison Wallace, Kejuan Lacey, Daquan Wright, Deuce Alexander, Austin Simmons are probable. Luke Has is supposed. I don't know why Has isn't on there. And then Traylon Ray for them is out. For Arkansas, Monty Harrison we know is done for the year. Ismail Cece, I don't think they plan on him coming back this year. Antonio Jordan is out for a while, and then Mason Shook, who's I think a walk-on linebacker, and then Cam Settles is doubtful. I must have missed that. I guess I don't know what's going on with that. Questionable is Kavion Henderson. Batten, Devin Bell, and I think Devin Bell's going to play. David Oakey is on questionable. Quincy Rhodes, man, you need him. Like that is not someone that needs. I don't want to see that name on questionable on that list. Probable is Trent Whalen, who they're really happy with through fall camp, and Selman Bridges, who's a rotating piece in the secondary. Couple of names there that I definitely want to be available, and that's for sure Quincy Rhodes and David Oakey. And obviously Devin Bell is a huge piece of that. I mean, he can be a weapon as a punter. Would like to see Kavion Henderson, even though he's not really anyone that's you expect to play a ton, but I'd like to see him. Tight end Luke Has was not on the report at all. I figured he would be.
It seems like when I watched Lane Kiffin's presser earlier this week that he was pretty confident that Luke was going to play this week. Uh-oh.
A-State's team.
What?
Yeah.
Better than Ole Miss defense? Ooh. Maybe. I mean, look, Kentucky did run around and over the Ole Miss defense a couple of times. And when you look at the highlights,
yeah.
That's why earlier when I said Ole Miss speed is not there like it was last year, it's not there like it was last year. Not to say they don't have speed, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Kentucky got around the edge. They bowled over the top of them, up the middle. I mean, it's not the same defense. And not to say they don't have one, but it's not the same defense.
And to everybody's point about Simmons, he does have more interceptions than touchdowns. He's got 4 picks.
And all his touchdowns came against the Cupcake. All of them.
Yeah. And he did look great in that game outside of the scoring. 32-28 says John Patton. Again, get your scores in. That is, by the way, that will be the post live chat question of the day. Sorry we didn't lead with that, but just give me your score. That's it. And you'll get some XP in Discord. Just give me your prediction on the winner and loser. Ty, if we win, do you change your thoughts on some of the losses this season? Yes, absolutely. The only thing is Ole Miss might be worse than I thought they were. And I'm not saying they're a bad football team. I still think they're capable of winning, who knows, eight games. And with their schedule, it's pretty impressive. That's pretty good. Like I said, Arkansas has to be, this has got to be it, man. You've got to, and it sounds like they are going to try, like they're going to be, I think they're going to be aggressive. I kind of wonder what the blitzing situation is going to be for this game, if they're going to try and get in Austin Simmons' face. I'll tell you. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm going to go on a long thing here if you want to get in what you're going to say.
All I was going to say is, again, back to some of just the Ole Miss podcast that I listened to. they're really worried about their guard play. Their interior line play is pretty bad.
Right guard and center. Wonder what.
Yeah, it seems like there's a guy that we sent over there to play right guard for him. Think we did that on purpose?
Didn't he hate Ole Miss too? Isn't it? Maybe this is sabotage. Maybe
this
is
a for life, Sam.
Yeah, I think he was he's sabotaging Ole Miss. Maybe that's what's happening here. I'll tell you what does stand out. And you guys know I really like going into the deep analytical end of things. Under a clean pocket this year, talking about Austin Simmons, he's completing about 64% of his throws. However, with a clean pocket, he's also thrown a couple of picks. He's got 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions based off 49 dropbacks. But he's given a clean pocket a lot, 80%. He's only under pressure about 20% of the time. He's got a pretty decent run grade, and he is capable of running and picking up first downs. But under pressure this year, though, what is interesting, when he is under pressure, most quarterbacks, this number drops, right? Their interceptions go up, their overall passing percentage goes down. We get that. His are atrocious. When he is under pressure, and it's not a lot, he's 3 of 8, putting him at 37% on completion ratios, no touchdowns, 2 picks. When he's blitzed, he has thrown a touchdown, and he is completing about 64% of his throws. That's based off 12 dropbacks, so he's not seeing a lot of pressure. But from blitzing, I should say. If you can manage to get pressure on this cat using 4 down linemen, let Sorey and that linebacker crew, let those guys float around. Whether I don't know if they're going to, who knows? Maybe they're going to be brought and they're going to play more man coverage. Maybe they drop back, play some zone. But if you can manage to get pressure, if you can win some battles on the outside, it looks like on that right side there might be a possibility there, even though it's more interior where some of their issues are. They're going to need to do everything they can to get after this dude and not have to blitz as often. You might spy him a little bit. Now, Green, they're going to spy the hell out of. There's no doubt about that. They're going to spy him, and they might just try and force him to beat them inside the pocket. But with Simmons, if you give him a clean pocket, he's going to complete probably about 60% of those throws. However, he has thrown a couple of picks on the year so far. I think he's got just 3 drops on the year, so they're not real drop heavy so far. He is 60% on the year in terms of completion, though he's 33 of 50 for 576, 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. If you look at the deep ball, he's 2 of 5 from 20 yards or more between the numbers. Outside to the right, he's 1 of 4. He has not thrown deep to the left side often. In fact, he doesn't throw to the left much at all. Neither does Taylor Green so far, by the way. But he's 4 of 9 over the middle between 10 and 19 yards for 107 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. He's got an 88.7 NFL rating, again, according to PFF. He's also 18 of 20, which is really good, between 5 and 9 yards, 234 yards. And then he's 3 for 3 from 1 to 9 yards. So he's what is that, 21 of 23 or whatever, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah. 21 and 23. He's doing pretty good when he's throwing short yardage throws and letting his receivers do the work after the catch, especially over the middle. Over the middle is where a lot of this yardage is coming from. I mean, do the math. I didn't do this. I should have. He's got 67 yards over the middle at 20-plus yards between the numbers. And then he's got 107 between 10 to the 19-yard line on those throws for 107, 2 touchdowns and a pick. And then he's got 234 yards off some of those. It looks like maybe like hitch routes, maybe shallow crossing routes. He's 18 and 20 there for 234 and a touchdown. So he's got 3 touchdowns and 3 picks, and all the action looks like for him it's coming over the middle. Now, does that mean they're going to do that against Arkansas? Hell, they probably didn't open their playbook up completely against Kentucky either. Maybe that's part of the problem. Because there's not a lot of throws off to the left, but he's not pressured a ton.
I mean, you have to think if they were that close, if that game was that close, they had to open it up some.
You would certainly hope so. He did leave this game, by the way, but then he came back to Neal and in the game. But not a lot. I mean, he's passed the ball 4, 9, 10 times to the left. That's it. And to be fair, he's really just throwing in between the numbers because he's not throwing a ton to the right either. It's mostly over the middle where he's doing all the damage.
Short.
Yeah, over the middle and short. He does have, again, he's 2 of 5 between the numbers and beyond 20 yards. He's 2 of 5 for 67 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. He's only completed 3 throws beyond 20 yards this year. But it's early, and who knows, right? Like, I'm sure Kiffin has something for Arkansas that we haven't seen on film.
Sure.
But right now, Simmons, I mean, his passing grades are horrible. They're not good. And you would look at this and think, well, maybe some of this is a heavy amount of drops, just 3, right? When I heard, well, someone had said on Twitter, yeah, looking at his PFF numbers, he's not super great, but I was thinking, oh, maybe he's got some drops and he's pressured a little more. And this was on Sunday when PFF, updates their stuff. And I go in and I look and I'm like, dude, he's struggling with a clean pocket. Imagine if they could get a little pressure on Simmons.
Yeah,
I am taking Arkansas to win this game.
Okay.
I'm taking them to win this game. Mostly because I like what I see from the offensive line for Arkansas. I like what I've seen. Talon is doing something different this year, and he looks better even despite his 2 picks. I'm not saying this is we're hearing Heisman rhetoric, which is insane. We're hearing, oh, he could be a top 3 round. I mean, I don't know, 3rd round's completely crazy, but I've heard some 1st round talk. I'm not there yet. They're comparing this guy to classic quarterbacks that could run the ball back in the day, and I'm like, hold on, let's pump the brakes. I saw that TikTok video. Let's pump the brakes. Let's let him play, and let's let him prove it. And he's got to prove it against Ole Miss on the road. We saw what he did in Oklahoma State for a little while. Let's hope they've cleaned up the rest of it. Right now, that's yet to be seen because he does have 2 turnovers. I also do not think, and another thing that I like about this matchup, I don't think for a second they've opened up that playbook on the offense. Arkansas.
Yeah, no, for sure not.
They haven't had to. There's been no need to. We've seen a lot of shallow crossing routes, which is what he's known for. We've seen some wheel routes. Yes, Green has missed a couple of wheel routes. He's also hit that route a couple of times too. I know he's hit at least one of those. I like that they're getting the running backs a little bit more involved in the passing game. And we're not talking enough about Mike Washington. We're sitting here talking about what Green can and can't do. Washington, I mean, again, this is another guy. I don't think we've seen everything. He's not once been given the ball more than 9 times in a game. Think about a game against a team that is struggling against the run. Think about having to prepare for Green, who can take off and run down the field. We all know. We've seen him now a bunch. We know what's up with Green. And then think about, they've got this cat, Mike Washington, who had a big game last week. Inferior opponent, fair enough. But again, this is a guy that's considered one of the fastest players on the team, and we've seen a little bit, and I've really liked what we've seen. Mike Washington could play a pretty big role in this. I guess the question would be, like, if they do get it going in the passing game, how does that work? Another thing I hope we see, and I think we might, the tight ends finally getting more involved. We have not seen them a part of this offense, really. Yeah, I know Jones had that touchdown, kind of later on in the game, but I really feel like this is on purpose. They like their I think they like their tight ends more this year than what they had last year. And I think they are better this year. And we've seen an inkling of it. I think the tight ends are probably going to get more involved in the passing game. And I think I'll tell you, this could be a shootout and Arkansas just win by a field goal. Unless Ole Miss is just ready to do it again like they did last year, even without all that personnel that was responsible for it. Unless there's just something they haven't shown us, I think not only does Arkansas, could they win a close game, I think if they play, I'm not saying they got to play A+ to do this, but play at least an A game, they could win this game 8, 9, 10 points. I just don't like this matchup for Ole Miss. It's more about what Ole Miss doesn't have and what they don't have compared to what they had a year ago. And it is more about, it feels like this offense just has more weapons than they did a year ago. And they're not as outmatched as they were a year ago. They had the number 1 transfer class. That is true. But through 2 games, are you seeing that? I'm not. So far. And that's with an SEC opponent on their schedule. So, again, unless Ole Miss just, maybe they've not taken those first 2 games serious. And that is possible. I doubt it because Kentucky did beat them last year.
And almost this year.
Played them really good. I just don't think Ole Miss is as good, and I think Arkansas is better than what they were a year ago. I think the receivers, it appears to me, and this was going to be a topic of conversation, but I don't know if we're going to get too heavy into it. It feels like they have upgraded at wide receiver for the most part. I know Isaiah Centennial is pretty involved in the OU offense. I know he had the muff punt, and I think he's dropped a couple of passes, but it's his first year in that new offense. He's still kind of a younger player. It's not like he's a super senior that moved over and they're expecting big things from. But Varkey's Gums has had some action. I saw Jordan Crook was I think he's like one of the leading tacklers for Arizona State. Jordan Crook was good on campus. I remember watching him as a freshman going, damn, this dude could play. A little surprised he didn't explode here. But to be fair, transferred a little sooner than I thought he should have, but whatever. Yeah, I really like this matchup in Arkansas's favor. I just think it favors Arkansas the more I watch. Now, again, when you look at like Green, we can keep going back to this, but like he's only thrown 4 deep balls through 2 games. We know Petrino likes to stretch the field. And he is, by the way, you talk about getting numbers over the middle, combined between the 10 and plus yardage, 10 to 20 plus yards, and then beyond, he's 13 of 18 for over right at 253 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 picks. And then between the 0 and 10, kind of similar to Simmons, he's got 277 yards. Why? Because of those crossing routes, those shallow crossing routes. He's 22 of 26 for 277, 4 touchdowns, no picks between 0 and 9 yard throws. Doesn't have a lot of throws to the left or right. It's kind of, they're very similar in that they're both targeting the middle of the field quite a bit. Green's numbers across the board are just better. Again, like I said, like we have to say every week until they start playing more difficult teams, we know they've only played Alabama A&M and Arkansas State. It's easier to look better when you've played those kind of teams. But based on what we have seen from Green, I do think he's improved. I think he's got, as far as I can tell, he's got a better arsenal around him. He's actually got support. And, his clean pocket percentage is 76%. 76%. I don't think through the first 2 games last year, and that includes UAPB, I don't think it ever was that high. I don't think it was ever that high, not the whole season, much less the first 2 games. Yeah, he's only under pressure 24% of the time. And the crazy thing is he's still throwing at 50% when under pressure. That's great. He's also got 2 touchdowns, no picks. 10 total passing touchdowns and then 2 interceptions. So, yeah, I like this. I like the matchup for Arkansas. I think they win. I'm not saying it's going to be super easy. I think it could be a situation where Ole Miss, and this could come down to turnovers, right? Like we know both these teams are capable of turning the ball over. I kept that up way too long. I didn't mean to. The biggest advantage a team can have is the quarterback advantage, and Arkansas Arkansas will it in the majority. We'll have it in the majority of games. We'll have it in the majority of the game. Yeah. A lot of turnover at quarterback this year. Johnny Jones says what's amazing is Bobby ain't even opened the playbook yet. DJ Williams said that. I didn't know he said that. I don't think he has either. I agree with DJ Williams if he said that recently. I agree. Woo Pig Warrior says Omega Blake is a top 5 wide receiver in the league. Yeah. What's up, Chris Meadows? How you doing, man? I would love to see Pratt and Rohan Jones ball out. I really think, I know we said that last year. Are coming. You don't see it in these games that don't matter. Sam said after the first game, he said, we had some targets for the tight end that didn't go that way. Yeah. I think that's the same thing for the second game. Really, it just didn't go that way a whole lot. But I think there'll be a lot more targets for tight ends moving forward. Yeah. I was trying to scroll up. I bet Rohan starts. They've been saving him. Maybe. The big question and what could bite me in the ass on this prediction is the secondary. It is Arkansas secondary. We're going to find out how much better they really are. I realize they locked down a really good receiver last week, but man, Ole Miss has got some options. Yeah. If their secondary is anything close to what they were a year ago, Ole Miss wins this thing easy. I mean, maybe not as easy because they had Jackson Dart, an experienced quarterback. But they will pick you apart. I mean, they're capable of doing that, and they can run the ball too.
We just got to keep Singletary on the bench. The question of the night should be over under passes thrown to Luke Haas before he grabs his lower back and walks out of the game.
I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. Oh man. Talon had a receiver wide open. Yeah,
I mean, it happens.
When you have, and I mentioned this last week, when you've got that many guys running wide, I mean, they had a lot of guys open, and he's hitting targets for the most part. What's up, Wes Brown? How you doing, man? Sorry it took me a minute to get to chat. I hope you're still in here. What's up, Ty? I'll be at the Ole Miss game. Hey, there you go, Wes. There you go. I'm trying to read all these.
I can't pull them up on the screen. So
what? Oh yeah, I don't know how to. I don't know. There's no. I'm gonna have to go into settings one day, and play around with that.
I'm not worried about it.
Huh. If we this game, I predict a win. If not, I'm marking it down as a loss. Christopher Cox is just like all in. Like if you don't use the tight ends, you're gonna lose this game.
That's that. I mean, I don't know if that's completely true, but
I don't know either. I mean, Ole Miss has got, like we said, they've got questions on defense too. If he's able to balance you out, if Bobby Petrino balances you out, if he gets the run game going, and then they're able to probably sneak those safeties up a little bit, get them to kind of wander around inside the box, which it's not smart to do against a Petrino coach team. Then he's going to go over your head. I don't know that you necessarily have to have the tight ends involved in this game to win, but I do agree. Like that's a missing component, and that's why they struggled scoring a year ago, because the tight ends were not involved. And if you go back to some of the Petrino's best teams, especially at Arkansas, tight ends are involved, and that is that's going to be pivotal. And again, they could win tomorrow. Hell, just running the damn ball. Ole Miss is struggling to stop the run. I say tomorrow. Sorry, Saturday.
Getting all excited for it.
I'm so ready for this game on Saturday. I'm
Me
so
too.
ready.
I think every game from here on out, actually.
Pull the show up on your phone, and Tim, you can see the comments.
I can see the comments. I can't pull them up on the screen like he does.
Yeah, he's talking about like that. Me pulling it up like that. I am, Luke has. I'm a little surprised he's not even on that list, just because of Kiffin being Kiffin. But I wonder, like that could have been a prediction. What does Luke has do in this game? Does he have an impact? Because you know how this goes, Tim. Former Arkansas players have big games against the Razorbacks. I know that's usually exclusive in basketball, but
they do. But I'm telling you, he's going to get hit twice. He's going to grab his lower back. He's going to walk to the sidelines.
We're not wishing him to be injured.
I'm not wishing it. I'm just saying that's what's going to happen. I didn't wish it last year either. It still happened.
Johnny, did you see that catch, Tim?
No.
Centennial had against Oklahoma. Oh my God. It was a really good catch by him. It was a really good catch. I was watching that and just so jealous. I was like, oh God, I bet he tore up that day. I bet he had a great day. Ty, if we see Singletary on I'm gonna cry.
For real.
Dude, he's got the raw talent. It's just kind of everything else, right? I just
need to grease his hands. I don't care if he gets a pick, just play defense, but grease his gloves where he can't grab anybody.
Yeah.
Like every time he tries to get a hold of the jersey, it just slips right through.
I would sacrifice that. I would sacrifice that.
If you get picks, play good defense and don't grab jerseys.
Exactly.
My gosh.
Another, and again, we already talked about kind of what, Green's pocket protection has been nice this year for the most part. They weren't perfect, but they've been really good. But that's another aspect of this. Like Ole Miss, if they're able to tear you up, if they're able to get some pressure on Green, if they're able to sack him, bring him down 3 or 4 times, it'll be the first time this offensive line has been tested.
Yeah.
Corey Robinson's got 118 snaps at left tackle right now. He's got a great pass. He's got the best pass block grade 86.7. I don't know where that's at in relation to the rest of the SEC, but that's really high at any point in the year. That's really high. His run block grade surprisingly isn't higher, but keep in mind they're not grading you based on, because I know there's that run by Green and Robinson gets out in front of Green and makes a great block, and everyone's like, "Oh wow!" Someone texted me like, "Oh dude, his run block grade's going to be through the roof." It's not how they grade it necessarily. It's kind of strange, but that was a nice block. But his pass block grade, everyone that starts for the most part, really good grades across the board. I mean, Carmona, maybe it was Carmona that made that block. Was that Carmona?
I don't think so.
I think it was Robinson.
I think it was Robinson.
But Branham has really good grades with 93 snaps. He's got a run block grade of 88.8 and a pass block grade of 77.2.
That's
Great. He's only given up one hurry. But you look at the starters for the most part. Caden Kittler's given up one hurry so far. Fernando Carmona's only given up one. Marion Harris
changed my prediction, aren't you?
Marion Harris has only given up 2 hurries. I keep forgetting Cash Courtney's been getting some play. He's only given up 1 hurry, but he's only played 21 snaps. But I'm liking what we have seen, but now it's like like we said, so much can change now. Our narrative of this team, not just from us, a couple of guys on YouTube, the national conversation about Arkansas will change. I'm not saying people are going to put you in the playoffs, but it's, you're going to get a little bit more love if you go into Oxford, dear old Lane Kiffin, the media darling Lane Kiffin. If you walk into his backyard and you find a way to win, even if it's by a point, even if it's an overtime, which would not shock anybody because this is Ole Miss and Arkansas. These games are always wild, almost always wild. Regardless, you're going to get a little bit more love. You're going to be given, the narrative will change around Arkansas. And these stupid ass power polls, or they'll change in your favor if you really give a damn about that sort of thing. But this could change a lot, man. This is it. You're right. This is the game. This is where it all starts.
I agree.
Don't know what this says, but welcome. I'm surprised T Will still here too. Well. Yeah. Who is the lineman that pulled out on the running? Let's see. Yeah, this was we were talking about that. That's Corey Robinson, I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure also. I'd have to go back and look at it, but I'm pretty sure it was Robinson.
I don't think Ole Miss, let's see. I don't think Ole Miss plus Grove is worth 8.5, but now it's 7.5. Yeah, it dropped all the way down to 6.5 at one point. Crash Out says that was him. Robinson made an awesome block and helped us score that first touchdown. Yeah.
So I sent you a link in a private chat that you can put out. That is Arkansas's game notes for.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody wants to see it in a PDF? It's all the game notes for this upcoming game, including stats and things from last season. And over the last 2 games.
See if it should let me share that. There it is. There you go in chat if you guys want to look that up. Robinson knocked a dude across the field with Mike running behind him. Yeah, there were 2 different runs, and I'm pretty sure I thought maybe Carmona was on one and then Robinson was on the other. I didn't get a chance to rewatch the whole game. I had to watch the highlights.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So I don't remember. And then that was on the highlights. I just don't remember who it was.
Yeah.
51 is Robinson. Yes, that's correct. Ole Miss Media is saying that Arkansas seems to have Kiffin's full attention.
Agreed. From everything I've read and from the press conference, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
He walked into his press conference, no lie. I think it was Monday's press conference, like somebody had beaten his dog. I'm not even kidding.
And that's what gives you worry, right? Like if they know they've got things they got to fix, they know that there's plenty of things on film, plenty of things on tape they have to get right. And they've been exposed. And so the good teams fix those, right? When you've got the talent, you can kind of fill those gaps. You can figure that out. You can, you can make up for that mistake by either changing personnel or whatever it is you're doing as far as scheming and formation, whatever. You could work around that. And when you've got quality depth, you could make some moves with your personnel. Ole Miss has bodies. They've got a lot of guys, and they've got a lot of potential. Again, when you look at, does Ole Miss have Arkansas outgunned in terms of talent? Yes, they do. I know that kind of rubs people the wrong way when you say things like that, but let's not sit here and act like what they did in the portal was terrible. They were number one, and they had a pretty solid recruiting class. However, Arkansas is a pretty damn good scheming team, and Travis Williams has had his moments as a coordinator.
Definitely has.
And Petrino's your play caller. So this could go, and I think Taylor Green is a better quarterback. He's obviously more experienced, a lot more snaps under his belt, and he's been in these environments. They've just got to avoid don't Oklahoma State this thing up.
No kidding.
And that's like your key to success. Don't Oklahoma State this thing up, and you should be fine.
Hogs don't hog this time.
Hogs don't hog. That's right. All right. I appreciate everyone for being here. Again, if you're just joining us, make sure you like, share, subscribe. I do appreciate everyone. We're wearing the chain on behalf of Charlie Kirk. Gave him the it's not a post game, but we're giving him the MVP chain of the show. Rest in peace, Charlie.
Yeah.
So yeah, hold your loved ones close, and just say a little prayer for the Kirk family. So yeah, I appreciate everyone. By the way, before we get out of here, Tim, if you got to go, man, feel free if you need to bounce out of here really quick. I appreciate you being here as always. Shout out to Direct Service Overhead. The garage door company. Ever had your garage door break at the worst possible time? Yeah, we've been there. That's why Direct Service Overhead, the garage door company, is the go-to company for garage door repair in Little Rock and Central Arkansas. They offer same-day emergency service, and they fix everything from busted springs to brand new installs. These guys show up fast, get the job done right, and they actually stand by their work. So don't wait around. Call Direct Service Overhead today at 501-244-3667 or check them out at directserviceoverhead.com. Your garage door will thank you. All right, that is it. Appreciate all the Patreon supporters for helping keeping this ship afloat. And again, shout out to co-host tonight, Tim Neal. I'll be back. Next time you see my face will be for the post game against Ole Miss. Hopefully we're with a big smile on our faces and we're celebrating. Otherwise, I don't know. I might have a few drinks. Can't stand losing 3 years in a row to these guys. We'll see you guys later. Go Hogs.
Go.